Hello, my name is William Roy with Challenge 2016, and I'm in this series of videos where I'm doing for Challenge where I have to go ahead and do a couple of math equations and other things like that. And today in this first seminar, I'm doing practice problem number 24 for practice number 24 in our math text. And question number 24 is asking us to find the domain and the range of the function y is equal to tangent of 2x minus pi. So first, in order to figure out the domain, in order to figure out the domain, we would have to go ahead and graph the function. But before we graph the function, we know its period and vertical asymptotes. So a typical tangent graph would look something like this right here. We would have some lines going down towards the graph, kind of curves down towards the center, but there's these vertical asymptotes where our function would be considered undefined. So that means that this right here would be like 1 over 0. That's what it means for as it to be undefined. So, but we know that the period of this function would be at every pi over 2. Every pi over 2, the graph resets. So pretty much what that means is that the graph would go ahead and reset. It would go ahead and reset, and it would go ahead and reset. So, and then it would go from pi over 2 to 3 pi over 2 to 5 pi over 2, and we keep going and going and going and going, and we keep going until whenever it stops. So for our function, we have that the tangent of 2x minus pi. Now, in order to figure out the period, we would have to go ahead and set our value within the tangent equal to what the period of a normal tangent function would be, because this is pretty much the same thing as this, just with a few extra things added to it. So pretty much we have 2x minus pi is equal to negative pi over 2, and 2x minus pi equal to pi over 2, because we would have to go ahead and go on one side and the other. So what we do here first is that we would add pi to one side and add pi to the other side. Then we get 2x is equal to pi over 2, positive pi over 2, not negative. And then we would divide by 2, and we get x is equal to pi over 4. So then we know that one of our vertical asymptotes would be at pi over 4. So we know that that's one of our vertical asymptotes. So when we graph it, we can know that that's where our function would be considered undefined. So now for our second one. So our second one, we do the same thing. Add pi to both sides. We would then get 3 pi over 2. And then we have 2x. And then we divide by 2. And we get x is equal to 3 pi over 4. Now, instead of dividing by 2, you could also say that it's also multiplying by 1/2, but it's whatever you deal with, whatever you're more comfortable with. So, but we have that x is equal to 3 pi over 4, so that'll be our second asymptote. Our second asymptote would be at 3 pi over 4. So now, if you were to go ahead and graph this function, and we know that our vertical asymptotes are at pi over 4, and at 3 pi over 4. Go ahead and graph this. So we have our center right here, our origin. You go ahead and have our y-axis, and we have our x-axis. We know that at somewhere around here, where where we have right here at this point where it is equal to pi over 4, and another point where we have 3 pi over 4, and at the same time on the other side we would have negative pi over 4, and then over here on the other side we would also have negative 3 pi over 4. So if you go ahead and graph it, we would go ahead and graph it here. Go from 1, then here at this point we would have right about here, and then have another one right about here. So our graph would look very similar to what a traditional tangent graph would look like. The only difference is that now our period has changed, so that now we have our period's now 3 pi over 4 instead of being pi over 2. But now, what does this mean for the domain and the range? Well, what this means for the domain and the range is that our domain will now consist of all real numbers except for pi over 4 and 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, and so on. And that would be positive and negative, so it would also be plus or minus, plus or minus, plus or plus and minus. So that means our domain would be all real numbers except for pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, and 5 pi over 4. Because of the fact that our period is at pi over 4, pi over 4, our function is considered undefined, and we can't have things being undefined. Things have to have things have to be defined. Things just can't be nothing. So then, what does that say about our range? Well, our range will also be all real numbers, because on the tangent graph, the y values are always y values that are infinitely up and infinitely down. So are infinitely up and infinitely down. So they could be all values of y that go from to the top to positive infinity to the bottom of negative infinity. So our domain and our range of the function y is equal to tangent of 2x minus pi would be, the domain would then equal the all real numbers except for pi plus or minus the pi over 4, plus or minus 3 pi over 4, plus or minus 5 pi over 4, and our range would be all real numbers. Thank you for watching my video, and maybe I'll have another video soon. Okay, bye.